With Marvel Studios still trying to remember how to make movies, we have Marvel Jeeves coming into the rescue.
Yes, so I guess say a prayer and hope that we end up on the other side of this much better than we started out.
Okay, this is what the fans always wanted. They wanted Deadpool and Wolverine. Let's talk about it.
I'm the not Merc with a mouth, Kyle. Join us. Hello, welcome.
I'm Nick from the St. Paul Filmcast. Thanks for finding us. Thanks for watching. And for our loyal fans, thank you for continue to support the show. Another way you can support the show, hey, check out our Patreon. Some great deals, great opportunities, and great content on the show. We just put up some new stuff as well.
Yeah, patrons are going to get to enjoy today our top 5 dark movies.
Yes.
So that should be kind of fun.
That should be coming up. Also, Kyle and I are members of the Minnesota Film Critics Alliance. Check out the webpage for critics reviews as well as ours. And of course, it was critics. We got to see it at the press screener. So what's going on as if nobody knows?
So 6 years have passed since we saw Wade Wilson, and he's trying to make something of his life. Well, finally. When he's brought in by the TVA and informed that his timeline is dying, and the only thing that can save it is Wolverine, Wade puts on his tight red suit and sets out to find his clawed buddy. Any Wolverine, really, that can fix his world and save the people he cares about.
Since this is constantly a fan-based campaign to get this movie operated. Remember, the Deadpool movies were simply because fans were upset because how he was presented in the movie The Wolverine.
Yeah.
Now we get what the fans always wanted, was a Deadpool and Wolverine combined team-up. So this is kind of fan-centered.
Yeah,
and you get your fan result, but also you get an enriching movie as well.
Yeah, the weird thing about it is, I mean, there was a lot of things that were going into this, because, of course, originally this was before Marvel had bought Fox, so we almost had an X-Force movie that was going to be pretty much all X-Force, it sounds like, with a taste of Deadpool. And then, Marvel had kind of watched the Once Upon a Deadpool, like, recutting of the second film to see if audiences would respond to a PG-13 version of the film, and I think it was not great results that they had there. But then there was options of, like, do we do, like, a Wolverine movie that's, like, a road trip style film. They actually originally tried to base this off of Rashomon, which would have been a very peculiar thing, and even a movie where Deadpool saves Christmas. So like they had gone through the gamut of trying to make this movie happen, and it wasn't until Hugh Jackman finally said, okay, I'll do it.
So you got a lot of good comedy points. It hits in the right points at the right time. You have a good, well pacing and a lot of breaking the fourth wall. Also kind of inside jokes. If you didn't know, and especially if you're not really fans of the Marvel, you kind of would not know, but it's also entertaining. You also get a lot of the characters that missed out on their own solo projects that were contracted them to have.
Yeah. Well, and you've got, I was sitting nearby one of our critics at our screening who had never seen a Deadpool movie. I was sitting by someone who had seen some of the Marvel movies, but not all. And I think this movie does cater to people who are Uber fans, as well as anyone who's really seen a comic book movie in the last 25 years.
Yeah.
Like, it really does have that wide berth of enjoyment. And I think for all of its faults, because I don't think that the story is very good. I don't think that the characters are done very well. But when the entertainment value is this high, it's kind of like I just kind of shuffle that off. When a movie is that entertaining, you can forgive a lot of its faults.
Right, especially when you have non-action. I would actually compare this more to like The Nice Guys, which had a thread of a story, but interesting characters. But right, what is really kind of missing here, and it's a petty thing, but you're really a menacing villain, really will kick it up. And you have Xavier, that Cassandra Nova, that just doesn't have the punch delivery that we would expect. We know they're going to come out ahead of it.
The thing is, she's a terrifying villain, though. She is, in concept, she is a horrifying villain, and I think Emma Corrin is doing a lot with what they have to work with. But you're right, it's not so many times throughout, those finale moments with Cassandra, I'm like, I feel like it should be harder. Like, I feel like there should be more against them on this. Yeah.
So you got some little upbeat bits. I like Peter Pool's Ex Machina. He just shows up and then they stop fighting in the other Deadpools. The greatest Ex Machina of the year so far.
Yeah.
And also kind of surprise hits that surprised me. There's a lot of appearances that, we're doing that way. Okay.
Well, and I try to avoid a lot of the spoilers for these kinds of movies because I try to go into them blind. I don't want to have things ruined by trailers. I actually don't think I saw a full Deadpool and Wolverine trailer the entire campaign. I really did a good job of avoiding this stuff. But then after the fact, I went back and watched the trailers because I wanted to see how much was revealed. They did a fairly good job of giving you reveals in those trailers and then hiding so much more behind the surface. I was actually incredibly impressed by how much didn't get out before this film was released.
Right, and we love chain-drinking, alcoholic Wolverine. We love a lot of other things that were presented. I think this is going to do a wonderful service. It's going to blow up big time because this is what people have been itching for many years and finally get. There's a great costume reveal at the end that we've been waiting for. And there's a joke to submit it, and when I talk about the full Wolverine outfit, which it's appreciative to especially all the people that have been following him for over 40 years. It's enjoyable. I like that he got yellow finally. I'm glad that we got out of this, everybody has to wear dark, sleek, and how the Matrix, we had to let everything make it look Matrix, bring some color back into the superheroes. It's kind of refreshing and also kind of familiar. Like I said, this feels like almost like Shane Black did it.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
And this is the hardest I laughed at an action movie since Nice Guys.
Oh, yeah. I definitely found this movie to be, number one, a crowd-pleasing movie. I mean, there was times that you don't often get this at press screenings because they're a pretty snooty bunch, but you had people standing up and clapping at a press screening in a giant theater with like 20 people. And like they were still feeling that audience momentum. I think the crowd-pleasingness of the movie is on point. You know, there's been a lot of really great movies for the crowd-pleasing audience experience this year. You know, like Twisters, this film. There's been a lot of ones where even the faults that I have kind of get overtaken by the enjoyment value that's on display. You know, I mean, I think when you get down to Deadpool as a character, this movie, he has the least amount of growth. You know, I find that the other two Deadpool movies, he actually does have a good, solid character arc in there. And he doesn't have as much in this movie. I think Wolverine is the standout character in the film because I feel like they finally were like, you know what, this is probably the last time we'll have Hugh Jackman. Let's send him out again with the most Wolverine we can Wolverine.
Till you're 90.
Yeah.
So, I think this is going to deliver. I don't think there's going to be anything afterwards. I think they blew their entire wad on this whole adventure, and I don't think there's another reason even to go back to it. There's a lot of play on post-apocalyptic that I find fun. There's a lot of play on fourth wall and also little jabs at themselves as well as other fans and other adventures into the Marvel. I love how they just tell us enough with the multiverse. It's not working.
Yeah. Well, yeah, my favorite line, I think, in the entire movie is, welcome to the MCU. You're coming in on a low point. You know, because I enjoy pretty much all of these movies as they come out, but I have to admit, like, the quality has not been there. I mean, I've only missed 3 MCU movies in theaters, and 2 of those 3 times I've missed a movie were last year. Like, it doesn't have that same kind of sticking point that it's had recently. I do think we'll see Deadpool again. I don't think we'll see most of the other people in this movie, but I think, I mean, there's a great setup involving Deadpool and another MCU character at the beginning of this film that has to pay off in an Avengers movie. It has to. And if it doesn't, then we have just failed. So
they're itching for it. So it's a long journey from if you were a kid in the 90s and a teen in the early 2000s, this was kind of your rock star superhero because he was almost the anti-superhero. It's almost if you bought into his Deadpool, you weren't into the superhero. You're most likely the antagonist. He was created to be annoying Spider-Man, and that's what he is.
Yeah.
And he does it really well. So I give it enthusiastic thumbs up. There's not much of a story here. There's not much of an evolution for characters, but it's mostly for the fans, and the fans are finally getting what they're wanting, and that's what we're appreciative of.
Yeah, couldn't agree with you more. Definitely a recommendation on my end. I find the story to be paper thin and the characters to be very hit or miss in terms of their execution of them on screen. This movie is not going to win any awards. I don't expect it to, but I do think it's going to win the pocketbooks of a lot of people. It's rare when I feel to myself, like, I don't usually go to see movies more than once, but I'm kind of like tempted to see this with a packed audience this weekend again. You know what I mean? Like, I'm tempted to go back, which is pretty rare for me.
Yeah. So keep the conversation going. What do you think of our assessment of Deadpool and Wolverine? Chances are you've probably already seen it because
Yeah.
we're loading this up on a weekend.
Yep. So, and while you're down there commenting, do your best to kind of like ease around some of the spoilers in case somebody comes to this video and doesn't have all the information.
Yeah,
You know, kind of be kind, and it's definitely don't post them on social media. Like,
Don't be a dick.
Exactly. We already have 2 of those in Deadpool and Wolverine, and 2 of those in our hosts here. But thank you for joining us for this episode.
Thank you.
Can
Thank
check
you.
out all my film reviews over at goatfilmreviews.com.
I'm Nick from the St. Paul Filmcast. Go see a movie.